Hello YouTube, how are you? My name is Gina Bossett and I am the photographer and CEO of BeautifulAchievinGdames.com. We're a photography and modeling agency, and today I'm going to be doing a video tutorial on how to Photoshop the skin, at least like a headshot or so. Okay, and let's get started. First thing we're going to do is go over to our file. We're going to open, and I've already selected a file. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be using two types of tools. One is a heel tool, which is like the rubber band looking kind of thing over here. If you right click it, there's 4 tools in this section. However, we're going to be using the second tool, which is the heel tool. It's what I prefer to use. The second tool that we'll be using is a clone stamp, which is it's about 2 slots down from the heel tool, and it's called a clone stamp. If you right click it, there's actually 2 sections. One is a pattern stamp and the other one is a clone stamp. We're going to be using a clone stamp to clone the skin. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to want to copy our layers, because we want a copy where we can go back and check in on our work to see how much we've done and what's new. So right over here where it says background, we're going to Control and J key. So it's Control J, and it will copy the layer. So now you have 2 layers. We want to label this layer. Where it says label 1, double click, and let's label that skin. Okay, now let's go zoom in on our skin. Over here, the zoom levels, it goes up to about 200, but I want to go a little further because I want to really get into her skin. So I'm going to go over here to my magnifying glass, and in the magnifying glass you have 2 options, 2 selections all the way up here. You have a positive and a negative, which is a zoom in and a zoom out. We're going to click the positive and zoom in. And we're only going to click 1 time. I'm going to click 1 time. If whatever photo you choose to use, or however you feel comfortable zooming in, do so. As a photographer, it's all about what you like. Every photographer is different. They Photoshop and edit very different. They take photos very different. And that's what's going to make you unique from all photographers. Okay? So I want to go in as far as here. So I'm going to be working with 300. And then I'm going to go into my heel tool, which is, again, it's like the rubber band kind of thingy. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's number 7 on the list. Okay. My cursor, now with your cursor, I'm going to teach you a little trick. Some people use their cursor. If you hit cap lock, you can use the cursor like this. It kind of removes the circle, so you don't have, too much distractions with the circles. Some people like to have like a clean view of what they're doing. Me, however, I like to cap lock and use the circle. It shows me what area to stay in. And I like to have my cursor all the way down to kind of really, really small, like the size of the pimple that we're trying to move, or the acne that we're trying to move. So mine's right now is on a size 9. If you want to adjust it, you can go over here. You'll see a couple of numbers, or you'll see a number. Mine is on 9, and on the side of it, towards the right, you'll see where there is like a little arrow. You can click the arrow, and here you see size, hardness, and spacing. My spacing is on 25. My hardness is on 0. The reason why I like my hardness to be on 0 when I have the healing tool is because I'm dealing with skin, and I want her pores to still, it's like kind of like a cloning. I want to keep the texture of her skin while I'm changing the color, or I'm removing the pimples or so from her skin. And the size that I have is a size 9. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the area. Right here we're going to be dealing with this pimple, or this bump. And we're going to go to a smooth part of the skin, a part that is not problematical. So we're going to hit Alt and click, left click, And that kind of, what it does is it picks up the color, it picks up the texture. And if you want to check to see whether or not it picked it up, you can go into like a dark area or a different color of the photo. I'm going to go over here to her earring because it's like black. And you see the color of her skin is kind of in that area, in that circle. That shows me that I have successfully picked up the color of what I'm trying to do. Okay? So then what we do is you just go to one of the bumps and you click. And now that you've selected some of the color, it still has color there. It still has the texture there. So you don't have to hit Alt again. You can just start clicking away in that same area. But you don't want to go from one area to a far area, like let's say over here to the nose. Because if you click it, then it's going to be the color that's over here. And we want everything to stay the same color. So if you're in the same area, you just click around the same area. You can go as far as like, if it's the lower cheek, as far as like the upper cheek. Or even there, you might want to probably hit Alt again and change the color. So now I'm going a little lower. I'm going to go down. I'm going to hit Alt down here. And then I'm going to start going around to the problematical areas and just click away. Don't click too much, guys. Please do not click too much. Sometimes when you click too much, and you know what, I'm going to lower my brush. Because when you lower your brush, it kind of does the job a little better. But when you click too much, you're going to start getting like a computerized look to the skin. Whereas you want it to look more natural and more like her pores. Not a computerized kind of look to it. Okay? And you just go to a good area, like I said again, good area of the skin, and you just click away. And make sure that you should only be clicking on a bump maybe once or twice. Sometimes I've had to click a bump twice to get it away. And that's only because you don't want the computerized version of the skin. It will do the job that one click, but if you do it too many times, it will become, like I said, computerized. You don't want that. Okay. We're almost done, guys. Bear with me. And we're here, and here, here. Gonna be dealing with a little here. Okay. Now, if you see, we have a little bit of coloration. Well, on my photo, I don't know how you guys photo art, but right here on this photo, it has a little bit of coloration. It took away the bumps. If we can go, now we're going to go check our work. We're going to see the difference. And right here on the layers, you have like what's called like an eyeball. This is your viewing, whether or not you want to see this photo or see what's actually underneath the photo or on top of the photo. So we're going to click that eyeball away. And you see, we're going back to our first step. And that is the difference that we've done so far. Great job. However, if we go down, we view out a little bit, maybe to like 200. We can see that there's a little bit of coloration, different kind of colorations in her skin. And we want to make it kind of one. So I don't really like that too much. So what I'm going to do is, this is where our clone stamp comes involved. So I'm going to go back in, which is, again, guys, you go to your magnifying glass, you click positive, and which is zoom in, and you zoom in. You click the photo. Now, clone stamp is two tools down from the heal tool. I'm going to click it. I'm going to make sure that it's really, really small. Now with clone stamp, you guys have to be careful because it can leave a big round circle where you're trying to clone. So the reason why you have to be careful, or the things that you have to watch out for, is your occupancy. The occupancy that I usually like to work it with is 60. And the brush is kind of small. Again, I like small brushes to work on a small area. Take your time. And the hardness. The hardness is how